Brosplay!
You know what I really love?
What's that?
Crotch sweat.
I gotta say I'm a fan too.
I buy it by the barrel. It's really
You're not a
cheap.
self-producer?
It's really cheap. Well, no, I'm quite, today, right now, you can check. I don't recommend it, but there's crotch sweat, all right? It's a warm day. We got the windows closed for the audio quality. Anyway, the sad thing I wanted to talk about was I'm listening to some twerp music, and I love it. Also, by the way, twerp could have easily just been the name of the band, but still, that's fine. I just realized that it has its own
It has its own ring to it.
It has its own acronymicist to it. But they have a song where he says, "You bring joy to my sad world," and it's so. I hope that's just for the line. I hope that he's not sad. Please don't be sad.
There are good things.
There are good things. I mean, listen to your own music. There it is. Oh yes. Oh right. Look at that.
I guess I meant to say there are good things coming to you, but both. There are good things and there are good things.
I have a feeling it's just for the line because the contrast. But
I used to write poetry, and most of it was just whatever sounded good.
Yeah. There's a few things I hear every so often that I think I don't know if that's quite true. I have a feeling that's just feels good.
Well, a lot of rappers and metal bands from back in the day had issues with that. When they became famous, it was so much harder to sing with passion about the things that they hated.
Yeah,
because you don't hate the world as much because the world literally opens itself to you.
It doesn't literally open itself to you.
It does.
Right off. I think we need a channel rule. Improper use of the word literally needs to result in something, like the swear jar.
Some sort of punishment.
The literal jar. It's the literal jar, brother.
We need a literal jar. Oh my god.
But you're right. I heard someone say that you spend your whole life as a creator trying to make enough money to afford the things you want, and then when you make it there, people give you the things you want for free.
Yeah, it's so ludicrous, but it's no one would ever think, really? That's what happens? No, everyone kind of knows that's how it works. Famous people just get shit for free.
I would give it away. Because I already don't like free shit.
Yeah, I had a whole course today about not accepting gifts. Because I'm going to be working for an engineering consulting firm.
Oh.
So there's actually specific dollar amounts that you're even allowed to accept.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good. I have this thing about there's a lot of silly laws out there. Oh shit, we didn't time it again. This is how bad things happen.
We were talking about drinking responsibly and recording responsibly and shit.
There are also a lot of laws that would be really silly if you enforced them, like jaywalking, like arresting somebody for crossing the street when nothing's going on would be really silly. But you can't just not make a law about crossing the street without. Although I guess California had a pedestrian law. I don't know if they still have it.
No, they've since gotten rid of that.
Yeah, I have a feeling. But they had a law where you could just cross any time.
The idea of laws at the end of the day, when you really look at it, is not as much. I mean, in Canada, we do say it's to deter things from happening and this and that. But mostly laws are so that when something goes wrong, we can decide whose fault it is.
Yeah.
And as much as you're not supposed to play the blame game, if someone's hurt, you have to figure out who's responsible for hurting that person.
I think in almost every situation, someone's responsible. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, well, whether it's the person themselves or somebody else.
Well, it's like that really great scene from Wizards of Oz where he goes to one department and they're like, no, it's sanitation, mate. And he goes over to sanitation, he's like, you're looking for recycling, mate. They're always directing him to someone else, and then he ends up back in the same spot. No, you're gonna want sanitation, mate. No one's responsible for anything, and that's bureaucracy.
Yeah,
that's the real issue with government, is that it's made up of people. You got to remember that government is not a thing. It's a culmination of dumbasses. That's why there's so much criticism towards the government. Is that it's real people, and real people aren't that good at stuff.
No, they absolutely aren't. And another problem with that is that it's real people using money that comes from what is essentially a faceless entity.
And if you don't spend the money, they'll give you less of a budget.
I've always thought that's kind of stupid.
And yet, totally a thing.
But there's always a challenge, because what do you do with that money? Do you say, oh, okay, well, we'll take a portion of that money and we'll put it into your bonuses? And you can't do that, because then people would just, like, skimp all the money.
Well, you do with there was a police department in the States that bought a cappuccino machine. Like a really expensive one. I think it made slushies too.
What?
It was a ridiculous...
Such an amazing hot and cold beverage machine?
Introducing the amazing hot and cold beverage machine.
We should patent that idea.
Patent pending. Fuck, man, it was really funny when we did the VIP meet and greet with NSP, and I should say the full name just in case people don't know. Ninja Sex Party. Have you joined the Ninja Sex Party? And it's much better than the Tea Party.
Or the Green Party.
I wish I remembered there were more parties. Anyway,
there's like 11 parties in Norway.
We had thought that we were gonna we wanted to change the name of the channel. We're set on the name of the show, Brosplay, but the channel name needed to change because we were like, well, we're gonna meet them, and then we're gonna say we were inspired by them, and then they're gonna say, oh, well, what do you do? And then we're gonna have to say the channel name, and we don't want this channel name. And then on the day of, we're like, shit, we haven't changed the name. Oh, don't worry, they won't ask us. And guess what they asked us?
It was a good line of thought.
We said Brosplay because that's the truth. Because we don't do it because Brosplay is the meat and potatoes at the moment. The meat and the veg and the potatoes. It's the whole 4 food groups.
Well, it's like if somebody asked you where you live. You don't tell them you live in Canada. You tell them you live in Ontario.
Right.
It's not the best way to find us.
But that's why we say it. That's why we only go as far as Ontario.
Well, I guess the problem is with YouTube, you're trying to give them enough that they can find you via search, but I'm sure our fans know that doing that kind of a search does not yield results. Just doing a Brosplay search. Oh, I'll take the turret.
I'll take that. Part of it is I'm bad at search engine optimization or SEO or SEO.
That, and they're not gonna send searches to a video with 3 views when there's videos that have like 25,000.
Yeah, it's very true.
And I don't blame them. They made a good algorithm. It would be a shitty algorithm if it brought us up.
Well, one day it's gonna be unfortunately positive. Like we're gonna be like, that's too many. Stop it. We don't like it.
You know what? Down. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. I am. But
I have to take it.
And NSP was amazing. First of all, Twerp was amazing live, but it was extraordinary to meet them in person. I couldn't believe it. You know when people say unbelievable and they really mean it expressively? I really didn't believe it. I was like standing in front of Danny and Brian, and I was like, ah, those are the people. Those are the... I've seen those. I heard those people before. There's a guy smacking your thing there. Oh, are they inconsequential?
Yeah, pretty much. It's really only that's what's weird about this. You've got all these enemies, but as long as they're not attacking you.
Hey, he's not singing a song about me.
Well, they say never meet your idols, but I had no problem meeting them. They were
that's my whole thing. Is I don't want people to be my idols. I want them to be colleagues. I want them to be easily reached friends, potentially acquaintances. Like I want to like. That's what I want from them. I don't like the people who feel unapproachable. There's a few bands that I'm into that feel unapproachable. Like things like people like Lamb of God. Like they're so established, they're so popular, they're so far away.
They're huge.
They're huge. Like I don't even know if they can do meet and greets. They might, but NSP's at a point right now where they can still afford to say that they can like a reasonable percentage of the people there were doing the meet and greet. It's like probably like 20% maybe. It's kind of hard to tell.
Maybe less than that.
Maybe less?
But the fact that they're able to take 50 or 100 people and say hi to everybody.
And it was so strange. I think we may have been lucky to be maybe like a 10th in line, but it didn't feel like just one of the 50 people. Like it really felt like we had a 1.5-minute podcast is what it was. Like it was like...
Yeah, I remember you saying that on the night of...
Yeah, like the feeling they gave us, like I was super fucking nervous and had no plan. Because I didn't even know exactly what meet and greet meant. I didn't know if we was like everyone in a small room and they were taking questions. I didn't know
Just
if it was
swarming them, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was actually going to be me, you, Brian, and Danny, and it was. It was 4 of us standing there, and I could not fucking believe that I was standing in front. Because way before I discovered Ninja Sex Party, I was into Game Grumps. So you have this feeling like you know someone. So I kind of feel like I knew Danny, and it wasn't until I was right in front of them that I realized I didn't. That's Danny right there. That's real Danny. Like, what I get in Game Grumps is like a...
It's a digital version of him.
Well, it's a digital version, but it's also a version of him that is ready for Game Grumps. Like, that's like it's not him, it's an aspect of him. But you get a certain sense of somebody when you listen to hundreds of hours of them. And then I stood in front of him and was like, holy shit. That's the Danny.
I totally get that when I watch podcasts of
Okay.
I totally get that when I watch any kind of podcast. You watch it for so long, you start to say really creepy stuff. Like you'll be talking to someone and you're like, "Oh yeah, so Joe said, I heard Joe say."
Yeah, you start to think like it was like your buddy who said it the other day.
And it's weird because they're trying to give you the experience like you're in the room, but sometimes your brain gets tricked by it in the ultimate way, where you really kind of felt like you were there.
I feel like I hang out with them every day, and I remember they don't know a thing about me until last Friday.
Now they do.
Danny knew nothing, and I would be like, there was someone in front of us that he recognized. So it's not like we're just like completely faceless. It wouldn't surprise me if he did or didn't remember us in the future.
Well, if he doesn't remember us, he'll remember Brosplay with an exclamation point.
Brosplay with an exclamation mark. Fuck, it was really cool too because Brian is a character as Ninja Brian for the most part, so you don't really hear him. And he just joined Game Grumps, so I don't know much about him. So it was really cool to see him, because when he did the meet and greet, he wasn't in character. He was Brian, like whatever's his last name. Like he is just, yeah, like the two of them were just themselves. They weren't playing characters in the meet and greet, which was really fun. And it was, I got this feeling from Danny when I said that I forget exactly how I said it, but I was so glad I did. I said, I'm so glad that you guys can do this and prosper doing it. I'm so glad that I came up with that word. Because I got this, like, I think he did that, like, hold his hand to his heart thing. Like, oh. And I'm so glad I got to say it, because
I'm sure he feels that way.
I think, well, yeah, they've only recently experienced this level of success. Only in the last few years. So it's still pretty fresh for them, I think. And this was their first, I believe their first Canadian concert. So it was important to me that their experience of Canadians was positive. So I wanted to say my piece, and I think I did. I said pretty much everything.
I'm really glad that all of it inspired you, because I remember meeting them and actually going, wow, they are so good at what they do.
Yeah.
That, like you said, we had a 1.5-minute podcast with them, just the way it felt. It was like we immediately were just in a world of the 4 of us. It wasn't immediately inspiring to me. In fact, it was almost demoralizing because I realized these guys are so much better than we are.
Yeah.
And at first I sort of took that as a like, crap, like it's amazing how out of our depth we are. But then I was able to turn it into a positive, and part of it was because you were so inspired to do music.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, this should be inspiring. That's the whole point of this show. For them and for us.
Well, a few things. One, Danny said it really well, because he felt the same way. When it's so easy to compare yourself to someone who's successful and think, look how far I am. Because he did it. I just listened to a great Before Grumps podcast. And he went through so much before he got to NSP. And then NSP took like 5 years to get to what you and I saw on Friday. Which was what they claim their biggest show. I haven't really seen anything else from them. The only thing I've seen from them live on YouTube is like comedy clubs, where it was just the 2 of them in a room of maybe 50 people. And you and I saw them with 6 people on stage and 500 or 600 people in the crowd.
That's amazing.
And that's extraordinary. And I think There was this moment, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment, and this is what I love about live performance that I haven't really appreciated because I've never been a live guy, is that when Danny came on stage, he stood there for longer than I think he intended, because I don't think he knew that was going to be the reception. Because it was an unbelievably loud scream. Like, the energy of the crowd when Danny came on stage, he had this smile on his face like that was not... Like I'm sure he's used to the clapping and the cheering, but I don't quite know if that was what he expected.
Caught me off guard a little bit. I remember it being very...
Way louder.
Very sudden.
Yeah.
Like everyone, as soon as they saw him, because obviously everyone cheered for Ninja Brian, but as soon as he took stage, it was just an eruption.
Yeah. And I think there was it was the moment that I saw in the face of the lead singer from Mumford & Sons. They had a pretty sudden success as well, and so they were doing a show that was a lot bigger than they had normally done. I could be talking out of my ass, that might not be true, but he goes to begin, I think it was Little Lion Man, and the crowd starts singing it, and he laughs. And he stutters because he didn't know that was going to happen because no one had ever done it that way. So the crowd picked up the song where he didn't do it, and then he like laughed, and then it looked like he was going to tear up, and then he started singing along with the crowd. But there was that moment that he wasn't ready. And that's the kind of thing that I'm super excited for, is the future of the potential. Like, I see like H3H3 has like a shit ton of fan art in the background. Can you imagine fan art? Like, I'm imagining fans. Can you imagine fan art? Like,
to inspire someone like, so much that they want to draw you.
Yeah, draw you, or make like a little Etsy doll or something like that. Like, that would be unreal. And you have an opportunity to be the first. Not that we have a P.O. box. That's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll figure that out eventually. We don't have a need for it. I look forward to worrying about how to get things to us and back to people. Because I think we might start doing giveaways. Not the kind of giveaway where we put it in the title where it's like, so the first person can come. Like, I want to put like, when we do Jack and Daxter, because I have an extra copy, I want to play Jack and Daxter and then put a giveaway like 5 episodes in, mid-episode. Like, it's just for the people who actually watch it.
Nice, which at this point means it's like a competition of 2 or 3. So if you enter the competition, your odds of winning, you know, they always have the commercials like, 1 in 3 chance of winning. Yes. Like, yeah, you might actually have like a 1 in 2 or 3 chance.
A 1 in 3. But back on what I was, the trials and tribulations, I'm looking at, like, I got kind of sad, actually, today. I got kind of sad. Because I'm looking at how much fun the 2 bands were having together there. And I'm like, fuck. That's going to take so long to get to. Like, not like, music is not my primary thing. I could see it being something in the future, but getting to that point could be really far off. And it kind of made me sad for a moment. But I was listening to a Before Grumps podcast, which is fantastic. And Danny actively pursued... I mean, like, hardcore pursued music for, like, 14 years.
Whoa.
14 fucking years before, like, the success they're experiencing in 2016. So, he was in several bands. They failed, or they moved on, or he wasn't in them. He was in the last band, I think it's called Sky Hill, for 6 years. And then he did 2 years where he found bands that were musical, only musical. He added his own vocals to it, and then went to their concerts and gave them those albums and said, "Here, like, check it out. I'd love to be the vocalist for your band."
Wow, that is bold.
He did it for 2 years, and one group, I can't remember what they're called, responded to it. He didn't end up being in the band together, but they're friends. But like that kind of non-success can really discourage a person. And he found Ninja Brian through a friend of his or something, but it was immediate. They immediately knew that they were going to create something beautiful together, and they were better friends than he had been with people he was friends with for years. And then it took 5 years or 4 years for NSP to actually pick up. and it wasn't any specific thing. It's just, well, I mean, part of it, like Game Grumps definitely helped, but most of it was just perseverance. Like, just keep fucking doing it. Don't stop. If you love something, don't fucking stop for anybody but you. And that's okay.
Even then.
And that's okay to stop for you. If you're writing music and one day you find out, like, I don't like this. It's okay. You don't have to feel like you failed yourself. That was a step on your way to what you're going to enjoy. Because if you look at a lot of the people out there who are doing something successful now, if you look at what they tried at the beginning, like, if they stuck to it, they wouldn't have been successful. Like, the first animation I produce, which is going to be a long time from now, but when I do, the art style is going to be pretty good, because I have started and stopped 7 animations.
And learned a lot every single time.
Yeah, I learned new tactics, new ways of making things feel good and look good, and making it look good to me. Because if I love it and I can't stop getting enough of it, then it's probably going to be pretty good for people who don't give a shit about animation.
Yeah, that's what matters. If you like it, it's more important than anything else.
It is. It really is the most important thing. And speaking of not stopping, thank you for joining us. Holy shit.